Yeah,
How do I airdrop? Do you guys know how I airdrop from my phone to my Mac so I could share? So I got a trade proposition in one of my leagues that I want to run by the panel.
I usually just text stuff to myself, honestly. But if you
Yeah.
go, is it a picture you're saying?
You can
No, I'm
airdrop
gonna
to your
share screen.
MacBook.
Hold on, I can mirror
You can
this.
airdrop to your MacBook.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Like
But it's not a
share, you're
picture.
saying?
Yeah, share live. But let me just take a picture of it.
You can, yeah, if you swipe up to the control panel, there's like a little icon.
Oh, you mean on
there.
the MacBook?
Oh yeah, you're trying to reverse it. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can share from MacBook to an iPhone.
From phone to iPhone to MacBook, you can.
Yeah, you can do that. You
AirDrop. I got it. Boom.
Oh, my bets. My bets are
they're
so
going to be
gross.
disgusting. You're going to be unbearable. And now that you went 3-0 after a being trash week, it's
worst thing that ever happened to us.
Absolutely, like Bucks tonight, money line slam.
No, well, you know what's funny is 75 everyone's on the Bills tonight, which I don't find shocking because they've looked like shit. And it's a big line.
Secondary,
I think it's up to 10.
I don't agree with the line. It shouldn't have moved from like 8.5 to 10 or whatever. Okay, I can see 9. 10.
If I was betting it, I'd probably take. I'm not betting it though. I hit a nice opening night NBA. Everything's going right now. I hit like a $700 NBA parlay last night.
That's what's up.
Great.
EJ or what?
No, just by myself. There was one line that made no sense. OKC was like underdogs in Chicago, and I was like, this makes no sense. I'm like, is Shea Gilgeous not playing? He was playing. They were up 30 in the third quarter. Like, it was a blowout. And then I figured the Heat would win, but we always keep it close with these shitty teams. So I took the Pistons plus like 11.5 or 10.5.
You sick fuck.
We still won.
So gross. Wow, I see Prime on my TV in the pregame right now. Mike Evans, huge fan of Harry Potter. That's like, the running joke that they bring up during every primetime game is like huge Harry Potter guy. So
Prime really has not hit the broadcast.
Yeah. Bro, I gotta like factory reset my TV or something. None of my streaming services are working. I can log into them. As soon as I click a video, it like craps the bed.
All right, we want to run this, Nick, so we can finish by the game.
Yeah, run it. I'm still picking my FanDuel. But run it.
Yeah, hop me off then, unless you want me on here to start.
Whatever you want.
No, I'm good. I'm ready when my segment's on.
All right. Gotcha.
Beautiful. All right, sounds good. All right, we ready?
Let's run it, kid.
Week 8, baby. Nick and Bean Pod. NFL 2023. And I feel incredible, Nick. I feel fantastic. How are you feeling?
Somebody's hot.
Importantly.
I'm feeling good, man, but somebody's hot. Somebody had a run this week. Did you lose at all? Anything?
I didn't lose anything this week. Everything went perfectly. We'll get to that in a second because we've got Rod. I love he's already interacting. He needs money for his Columbia getaway. What games does he need to bet on, Rod? Good thing you're here, brother, because I got you covered tonight. I'm the hottest gambler on planet Earth. Nick passed me all his powers, and I can't lose anymore. So before we get into it, before we get to the recap, can you see the hat? Custom merch, the greatest sponsor in the history of the world, Diet Smoke, THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9, Nick's ripping it, pens, vapes, gummies. It's just delightful. It's absolutely delightful. 20% off, code Nick and Bean, as always. Nick doesn't need, I don't think he needs to add anything because we do this every week because they're the greatest sponsor known to man.
You know what
we live this product.
Sodas,
it's the greatest product.
They've got drinks. They've got edibles.
They got drinks.
Got pens,
drinks.
Whatever you want. They've got stuff to help you sleep. I'm going to talk to them. I'm about to drop a little hint. I think I got a new product. We'll drop it next week.
They'll listen. They'll listen to you. I'm excited to hear about that. Let's get into the recap.
Okay.
3-0 in my best bets. You laughed at me when I took the Colts. They should have won outright. They still covered. You laughed at me when I took the Giants. They won outright.
No. That one, I think I was with you on that one. Not like I want to bet the Giants, but yeah.
When I took Kirk Cousins in primetime and he smacked the 49ers.
I would have never bet that. I would have never bet that or the Colts. The Giants, I can see.
They won outright. They won outright. All these teams basically won outright except for the Colts, and they should have won outright. Also, on top of it, 6-0 in fantasy, 2 epic comebacks, which we talked about if you were on the YouTube a little while ago. But just an incredible week. Nick, I know you came back to earth finally after your multiple weeks of going undefeated. What did you look like last week?
I went 1-2, so just under 500. Had the teaser. Thankfully, the Chiefs, the chalky play came through.
The Chiefs came through.
Great. The Chiefs are looking great, man. There was a couple shockers.
Impact players.
Yeah. There was a couple shockers last week, including the ones you bet. But there were some other shockers that like the Detroit game. They played horrible. I did expect the Ravens to play good, but I didn't expect Detroit to no-show entirely and score like 6 points the whole game.
That was crazy.
You know what I mean?
That was crazy.
So there was that. But yeah, fantasy went 1-2 as well. Somehow banked a win in your league. I thought I was going to lose that one when I looked at it on Sunday, but ended up banking a win in that one. So saved me from going fully defeated, not undefeated, from going undefeated 2 weeks in a row. Almost went fully defeated, but got both a win in fantasy and pod picks.
Love it. All right, let's hop into
1-2 and 1-3.
1-2. Oh, 1-2 and 1-3. Got it. All right. Impact players from week 7. Started off with your chalky play, and Mahomes finally went absolutely off. I think it was 400 yards, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns. They look great, and you know what? If this defense keeps playing like they are, this team is they may be unstoppable. And you know what? The Chiefs really haven't had any receivers. We've all been saying that. They actually scooped back up Mecole Hardman, which isn't that big a deal. The bigger deal is Rashee Rice may be legit. And if he is legit, caught a touchdown, looks fantastic. They just need someone who's decent to go along next to Kelsey, another solid receiver. And they look great, though. Give me your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, so they had, like you said, Mahomes had 424, 32 for 42, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kelsey had 12 receptions, a monster, 179 yards. He had 14.7 yards average per reception, which is pretty huge for someone that large. You might see that from like a speedy guy that's just an over-the-top threat, but for someone his size to be averaging 14.7 yards on the route, huge. They're now number 1 in the league in passing yards per attempt, and they are number 2. They pulled right below the Dolphins in passing yards per game. They're at 285. The Dolphins are at 300, so they are just about the most potent offense in the league. Not quite the Dolphins, but just about the most potent offense in the league. Mahomes on that MVP tear, which he's been on every year for the last few years.
6-1, leading the AFC. Mahomes is your first impact player, deservedly so. Next, we got A.J. Brown, absolute monster. 5 games in a row, over 125 plus yards. He had 10 catches, 137 yards, and he shredded the Dolphins. Looked great doing it. He actually got kind of dinged up and came out of the game for a second, came right back in, caught a big pass, caught a touchdown, sealed the game with a big pass. There's really not much to say besides he's been just incredible this season so far.
He's been dominant. I'm not the hugest A.J. Brown fan, but he's kind of making me one this year. You know what I mean?
It's hard to deny him right now.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a tough choice between him and Nacua, which receiver I wanted to go with, but Nacua caught an L and didn't score a touchdown. Easy handover to A.J. Brown.
Yep. Puka had a big game as well, but AJ is, besides Tyreek right now, It's tough to make a case for anyone else in fantasy and maybe in real life, with Jefferson on the sideline, Chase and Burrow, whatever they're doing. A.J. Brown has really ascended to the top of that list. Next guy you actually put this one down, Kenneth Walker the third. He actually goes by Ken now. Don't know why. He had another 100-yard game, and he looks really good. The Seahawks are a solid team. He looks like one of the best 7 or 8 running backs in the league right now. Give me your thoughts on Ken Walker.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those sneaky guys. I don't really hear him in any of the conversations for top running backs. Running back's been a weird position to me, at least the last couple of years, where it used to be like, okay, there's 5 guys, they're the best every year. You know what I mean? And it's sort of changed up. I mean, there's still Christian McCaffrey. There's still there's a few guys that are studs, but outside of 1 or 2 guys, the landscape on running backs has changed entirely in the league. And Kenneth Walker is a good example of kind of like a no name that's just solidly producing week after week.
Yep, a lot of people expected Charbonnet to take a big role in that offense. Not happening so far. He's a clear-cut back, and if we redrafted fantasy today, he'd be probably a late first, early second-round pick. Wow. Next guy, speaking of a no-name running back, he always seems to show up when there's an injury. D'Onta Foreman. He had 89 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. He added his first career receiving touchdown. I sat him in a fantasy league. Thankfully, I got lucky. It didn't cost me a win, but he always looks good when he gets opportunities. The Bears, who I actually bet as well, I didn't give them out on the pod picks, but they absolutely demolished the Raiders. They killed them. Tyson Badgett came in, did decent things, and D'Onta Foreman took them all the way.
So I'm shocked. So what I want to look up right there, because I feel like he's been all over the league, I was like, how old is D'Onta Foreman? How old do you think he is?
29.
He's 27, dog. I thought he was 34. I thought he was 33 by now.
I think so. I believe this is just off the top of the head. Don't quote me, but I believe he was drafted by the Texans, and he had 2 really bad injuries, which set him back. And he really didn't do much till he backed up Derrick Henry a few years back, and he balled out when Henry was hurt. Then he goes to Carolina last year and went on an absolute tear to finish the season. Chicago signs him. They don't even really play him. They wouldn't have played him unless Khalil Herbert got hurt, and then Roshan Johnson had a 4-week concussion. So he's just always ready to go when you need him. Whenever you need Foreman, he is ready.
Did I hear you right? Did you say a 4-week concussion?
I might have been exaggerating, but he's missed the last 2 games because of the concussion.
Okay.
Yep.
How hard did they hit
shout
the
out
dude?
Golly. Shout out to D'Onta Foreman. That wraps up impact players from last week. Let's get in to a huge week 8 in the NFL. Basically, not quite the halfway, but almost the halfway. BX Damone's in the building. What's going on, brother? Happy week 8 to you as well. It's a beautiful week. We got a good game coming on soon. Let's get into the marquee matchups for week 8. We got some good matchups. Nick has been writing these down, so if any of you don't believe some of these are actually marquee matchups, I don't blame you. First one.
Kiss my ass.
The New Orleans Saints are traveling to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are -1.5. The over-under is 44. Let me see if that's changed. So that's changed big time since we wrote this out. So it was Colts by 1.5. It's moved all the way to Saints -1. So it's moved 2.5 points.
That's the right side. That's where it should have went.
You think? Okay. All right. So Saints are -1. Over-under is 44. Nick, you're already talking. Give me your feeling on this game.
Yeah. So Gardner Minshew, if you look at his splits versus zone and versus man-to-man coverage, he plays significantly better against man. And last week, what we saw was a team that plays a whole lot of man coverage. This week, the Saints actually also do play a lot of man coverage, but I think that defense is stout enough to kind of run it against a quarterback of the stature of Gardner Minshew. But so I think that it is a strength of his that they are going to play man, but I don't think it's enough. I think the Saints are a much better team. Gardner Minshew at best can play maybe average. So maybe he doesn't turn the ball over 3 times or 5 times this week, but the best output that he has is about average, and I think the Saints have enough to get it done. I was close to having a bet in this one. Maybe we'll see later if I pull the trigger on that. It wouldn't be a side.
Here's what we know about Gardner Minshew at this point, Nick, is we don't know who the fuck we're going to get week in and week out. We may get a guy who puts up 500 yards of offense on the Cleveland Browns, who's the best defense in the league, or we may get a guy who sucks. Okay, it's been total flip-flop. He's swinging back and forth. It makes no sense. They've got some good young receivers. Pittman's playing good. Josh Downs is playing good. They've got Jonathan.
Putting Josh Downs in the FanDuel last week.
I did put Josh Downs in your FanDuel. We'll talk about that when we get there. But they got Jonathan Taylor back as well. Zach Moss is running great. This is such a tough game to pick. I can see either team winning. It is such a tough game. I don't have a side on this game. I would lean under, if anything, which is a total of 44. But this is a tough game. Tough game.
Question to you on John Taylor, because I've been pretty interested in that situation. I know they didn't trade him. He wanted out. He's not going to tank his performance. He's got to put on good tape. But what do you think of that whole situation with Jonathan Taylor not really wanting to be there? Do you think he can really perform at his best in a situation like that?
You got to get better internet, first of all, because you're cutting in and out. It's your internet. I've got the fastest internet in the world. It is 100%. I've got the greatest internet to ever live.
Beat it. Do you hear me or what? We'll talk to the people. You're in that.
We can hear you nonstop. Your video keeps cutting in and out. That's what I'm talking about.
The video is smooth.
All right. What was your question?
Distracted. The question was, with Jonathan Taylor, with his situation, wanted to be out.
Jonathan Taylor is going to he's going to play well, like he's been playing the last couple of weeks. He's going to get 60 to 70% of the work. And Zach Moss, if he keeps running like he is, they're not going to deny him opportunities. He's too good. He's playing too well. I don't know what he's done in the last year to become the person he is, because he was dog shit in Buffalo. He was terrible, but he looks like he got that James Conner juice, and he's running incredibly. So this is a tough game.
I think he's a little heavier. He dropped some pounds.
Probably. All right, so that's New Orleans at Indy. Next game we've got on the card, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles laying 6.5 in Washington. The over/under is 43.5. Philly coming off a big game, smacking us Dolphins on Sunday night. We won't mention that we had 12 penalties and they had 0. That doesn't matter. But this is a divisional matchup. And if you remember the last game they played, it was in Philly. Philly was like 10-point favorites, and it went to overtime. And they diced Philly up. McLaurin had a game. Curtis Samuel had a game. They were playing really well. So this is a tough one to bet. How you feeling about this game?
I'm not feeling the same way. So it's moved to a cheap 7 on Philly. I believe that they dominate this game. I do think that it is an off week. They're playing in Washington, but that team is very bad. That Washington Commanders team, they do have a defensive line that's pretty good. But would I bet Philly -7? No, but I would tease the hell out of it. I don't think there's any chance that this week they get caught on some sleepy look ahead stuff. So I do have Philly in a teaser.
Something just shot into my brain, and I have another pod pick. So I will wait to break this game down more when we get to pod picks. But this game will be in my pod picks. I'm not going to tell you what side right now. Rod, thank you for clarifying. He says everything's good on your end. Your internet's probably still kind of shitty, but that's all right. That's all right.
My shit is crisp, nigga. But all right, so next.
Sure it is. Go ahead.
Next marquee matchup, Rams +6.5 at Dallas Cowboys. We've got the Rams, who have been playing well and playing above expectations, and we've got the Dallas Cowboys with that strong defensive line. Matt Stafford does not play well under pressure this year. He has been doing horribly in that sense, and the Dallas Cowboys have one of the guys that's best at it. I took this game. I bet the under. It's at 45.5. I think there's no way. Also, the Rams have a great defensive line. I don't know if you heard of a guy named Aaron Donald or not.
I have.
So yeah, I think that is enough with the over under to 45.5. The average scoring on the league right now is 44, something like that, maybe 43 and change with the endings on games. So if they're expecting an above average scoring game, I'm telling them they are wrong.
All right, breaking news. Let's see if we can get it in. We've got EJ's given out an incredible basketball parlay, and the NBA is back. And I'm just going to let everyone know that we will be having EJ, our good friend and the king of basketball parlays, will start coming on this pod straight from the farm and be giving out plays at some point in the next few weeks. If you're not with us on YouTube, D'Angelo Russell under 5.5 assists, Grayson Allen over 1.5 assists, and Yutu Watanabe, is that right? I don't know, over 0.53. So just to make 1-3. EJ, we appreciate you, brother, and we can't wait to get you on. So this game, Rams game, it's plus 6.5. Dallas is laying 6.5. The over-under is 45.5. Yeah. I am shocked by how much money has come in on the Cowboys early. The public is all over the Cowboys, and I don't have a play on this game, but I don't know how you can lay a touchdown with the Cowboys right now. The Rams are a solid team. They are Darrell Henderson. I mean, this guy came off his couch and rushed for whatever in a couple scores. Puka Cooper Kupp combo is fantastic. Without Trayvon Diggs, how are they going to guard that? Obviously the interior lines, there's an edge to the Cowboys, but Tyron Smith is hurt. And like you said, Aaron Donald's tough to guard. This could be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rams jump out to a lead, and we all know how the Cowboys act under pressure. So this is a really tough game. I think the line should be more like 4.5, 5. But hey, they're probably going to see a lot of teasers Vegas with the Cowboys, which would scare me if that's one of your bets. So that's my thoughts on that game.
My question on this game: if you had out of these two bets, which would you make? Right? Would you make Dallas as a teaser leg down, or would you prefer Rams plus 6.5? Which one of those sides would you
definitely the 6.5?
I agree, 100%.
I think that tease is a sketchy tease, and the Cowboys though, you'll know in the first 5 to 8 minutes what's going to happen in this game. They tend to either run through these teams or they tend to lose close games. So, they are a scary team to put in a teaser. We saw that remember they lost to the Cardinals. Everyone had them in 10-point teases and 6 and 7-point teases. They lose outright as 13-point favorites. So they're a very sketchy team. Let's get on to maybe the best team in the history of football, the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, sir.
We're coming off a loss. It's all right. It was a fine game to lose. Philly's a good team. They got more calls than us, but we're not people who blame the refs. Fuck, I'm not a guy who blames the refs. I'm not Didn't go our way, but they deserve to win that game. They played better than us. This is a big line. I don't think anyone expected this line to be this big, especially the Patriots. Coming off the Patriots, they had their best game of the season by far. They beat the Bills. We lose. You expect this game to maybe be 6 or 7. Dolphins are minus 9.5 at home. Over under is 47. And I never bet. I don't bet on my Dolphins, but I will tell you if there's a side in this game. I would never make it a bet. If someone else is betting this game, the Dolphins are the side. The Dolphins are the side. Tua owns the Patriots. Mac Jones, he had a good game last week. We know who he is. He's a fucking garbage man. He's an AT&T salesman. He's not an NFL quarterback.
I think last week speaks more to how banged up and poor we're going to see the Bills the Bills defense for the rest of the year. With Milano out, with the secondary pieces hurt, I think that's really what showed for Mac Jones in that performance last week.
Yeah, I think we match up well with the Patriots. We already beat them once this year. We know they're going to limit our big plays. We know we're going to have to be more methodical with our drives, but Tua can do it. Our defense loves playing Mac Jones. They always seem to play well. I expect a strip sack from Chubb or Phillips. I expect I don't know if we're getting our corners back. I don't think we need them in this game. I'd say rest them. But I'm not gonna. I would never bet this game, but if I would, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone hops on that Patriots because it's such a big number and the Dolphins blow them out.
Yeah, so
Patriots. The Patriots have to be the public side. While you talk, I'm going to look it up. What's happening so far?
So yeah, thankfully it's a home game. It's not quite as hot as it normally would be down here, so it's not going to be that difficult of a road game, I would say. Except for the fact that the Dolphins are a pretty damn good team. Outside of that, it won't like the conditions won't be too terrible for them. Tyreek Hill might miss. I think that does affect the game, but I don't think that affects the game to the point where we lose or win.
He's already confirmed playing. Already confirmed.
He's confirmed playing?
He said it today. He's fine. He just needed a day. His hip was sore. He's playing 100%.
Okay, because that would make a difference to me. 9.5. I think that's too many points. I wouldn't be able to bet the Patriots, but there's no way I can bet the Dolphins minus 9.5 this week when we have I think we have KC next week. We have some big game next week. It's not Philly because we just had
in
that
Germany. Yeah, we play KC in Germany next week.
Yeah, so
65% of the bets, 54% of the money is on New England so far. Not that big of a disparity, but yeah, there's going to be so many people on the Patriots, I think. I would not be surprised. All right, 2 more games.
Yeah.
Minnesota minus 1.5 at the Green Bay Packers. Another divisional game. Let me get the over-under on this game while we're waiting. Nick, what are your thoughts on this? Is a tough game. The Vikings coming off one of their absolute highs of the season, beating the 49ers in primetime. Nobody knew Kirk Cousins could win in primetime. And the Packers, they lost to maybe the worst team in the history of football. They lost to the Broncos, and they couldn't even score the ball. I mean, they scored like 16 points, no points in the first half. How do you lose to the Broncos? So it's like that tale of one team ascending and the other team going to the gutter. I mean, it is a tough game. I've got the over-under here. It is at 42. Give me your thoughts on this game, Nick.
Okay, so that total is pretty low. The Packers, like you said, they're just really just not a very good team. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, my expectation for them the rest of the season is not high. I thought the Vikings were going to be shit. Their defense is shit. But Kirk Cousins, year after every year, Kirk Cousins is putting up – he's putting up over 2,000 yards somehow, some way. He's he's not in the conversation, but he's putting up the yardages, and he's actually a good player. I think he's a good – hey, I'm going to say it. I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
I agree. And on the other side of the football,
Addison's
Jordan Love. Oh, I love Jordan Addison now. He's a folk hero around my house. But I'll tell you this, Jordan Love when I look at him throw the ball and I look at him in the pocket, I feel like he looks incredible. And then he throws the ball, and I don't know where the fuck it's going to go. I mean, the guy looks like Aaron Rodgers. He's got that swag, and maybe he's just mimicking Rodgers. But I like look at him and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so good. And then he throws it and he misses the guy by a mile, and he can't score on the Broncos. And especially after week 1 where they diced up the Bears and it looked like, oh my God, Green Bay's got another quarterback. Are you kidding me? But he has looked like shit the rest of the year. I don't have any faith in him, but God only knows how. This is just a classic spot where the Packers will somehow win this game and Cousins will throw a stupid pick in the 4th quarter. That's what it feels like to me if I was going to lean one way. On the other side, money has flooded in on the Packers as well early. It's a big number I saw. They're plus 1.5. A lot of people are on them. I don't know. If I was leaning away, I'd probably close my eyes and take the Packers, but this is a tough game as well.
I would just tease the Packers. Could I take the Vikings? That's close.
You could tease. I mean, you never like to tease through the. Yeah, you wouldn't tease through the 0, but if this game was a pick'em, I would tease both sides and probably win. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a tight game. So that's going to be a good one. I mean, we've got a really good week of football, and then let's round out our marquee matchups before we get to the best part of the show, the prop god and the pod picks. Last matchup, we've got the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson is a bum. He is an absolute bum. He may be out of the NFL by the end of this year. I will say it. He may be done in the league. He may be absolutely cooked.
He may not play again. I'm not going to lie. He may not play again.
PJ Walker will probably be the quarterback. It's moved up to +4 at Seattle. And Browns are 4-2. Seattle, what are they, 3-2? No, they got to be. That's wrong.
I think you're right. Let me check. I think you're right.
I think you've got a wrong stat here. Nick's screwing me up. No, you're right.
Dog.
Browns are 4-2. Seahawks are 3-2. Both solid teams. I mean, imagine if I was joking about this the other day, but imagine if Cleveland took that $250 million, put it somewhere else, and just kept Baker Mayfield. They'd probably be a better team right now, to be completely honest. And the Seahawks, Geno's finally playing better. DK Metcalf will come back. Jackson Smith and Jigba finally looking good. This game, I'll tell you. I'll give you my thoughts on this game. It was almost a pod pick for me. I looked at this line, and off the top of my head, I'm like, this has got to be a pick 'em. I almost think the Browns are going to win the game. And then I saw it, and it's -4 Seattle. So it is not a pod pick of mine, but I heavily lean towards the Browns, which means I would bet Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, so Seattle, I think they opened -2.5. So everybody, I think, has flooded Seattle at this point.
They're all betting Seattle. I don't get it. It. I mean, Cleveland, besides last week's, had the best defense in the league. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe that, the home field advantage has been cut down like we've talked about over the years. They're not giving as many points for it. But Seattle is one of those places where you travel, that crowd, that stadium. They may give Seattle a little bit extra than they would a lot of other teams.
So, one of the things that I thought was interesting with this game is DK Metcalf last week missed his first career ever game. He's never missed a game before. That is ridiculous with how violent of a sport that is. On the game, I've got nothing except for maybe that they may never give out a guaranteed contract again with what happened with Deshaun Watson with that shoulder. He just ruined it for anybody moving forward with a guy with a guaranteed contract.
He's a joker. All right. That wraps up marquee matchups. Looking forward to a big week 8. Bring him in, Nick. Bring him in. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Terry McLaurin didn't catch a pass for a half. Were we ever worried? Never worried. We knew he was going to hit.
A little bit.
Never under 70 yards against the Giants. He was I don't know what he ended up with, but it was 6 or 5 for 100 or 90. I mean, he didn't, like I said, didn't catch a pass for a half, prop god, and he covered with ease. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great. Like you said, 2-0. That's all that matters.
2-0.
Yeah.
What's your record on the season? What are you, 8-4, something like that?
We're 8-4. I mean, where are you going to find better numbers than that? Let's go. Yeah. No, it's a real team effort here. We were absolutely sweating in the third quarter when Terry McLaurin.
All right, we were sweating. I was lying. We were sweating.
and all of a sudden, it's raining catches for Terry McLaurin. He catches one down the sideline. He gets absolutely lit the fuck up and holds on.
Yeah.
And at that point, Bean and I both know, we're good. This is a lock.
You're 100% right, because Terry is one of those guys that when you hit him, he fucking wakes up. Kind of like Joe Burrow or like Anquan Bolden used to be. You hit this guy, his eyes light up and he becomes unguardable. And he went on a streak and in no time covered everything we needed.
Let's go. Scary Terry coming through.
So you're 8-4. You're the hottest prop better in the entire universe. What do you have for us this week?
All right. So the last couple weeks, we've stayed away from the infamous kicking props. And it's
regrettably
it's proven to be a great decision. There's been misses left and right. Jake Moody seems like he's playing in high school or something.
He's terrible. Ever since you stopped putting faith in him, he's been terrible.
We've seen something in the numbers to stay away. We've got our checklist, but this week we're back with the kicking props. So I've actually got 3 props this week, and they're all going to be over 1.5 field goal props. Okay.
So, I just got a tingle down my body.
Yes,
I am tingling inside. This is exciting.
Yeah, let's do it. And we always talk about our checklist. Okay. Do we have good weather? Do we have a good kicker who has been accurate lately? If you missed a couple last game, we're staying away. So we need a good offense that moves the ball down the field. And we want a team that we don't think is going to have to be going for it on 4th down or doesn't go for it on 4th and 7 just to go for it. So, man, this first one's going to be a little controversial with you guys because I know you guys both, it seemed like you liked Cleveland at Seattle this week. I'm actually big on Seattle. I took it at the -2.5 and -3 right when it came out, and
I like those bets.
Yeah, and I love teasing it. I know you don't like to tease through 0. I do. If I see a game at like -3, I'll tease it 6.5 to +3.5. If I see a team that's -3.5, I'll tease it 7 to +3.5. So I will tease through 0. But why I hate the Browns so much is because we've had 2 weeks in a row now against the Colts last week and 2 weeks ago against the Niners, where they should have lost both games and the other teams got absolutely hosed by the refs. So this week against the Colts, it was so bad that the league had to come out and basically say, hey, we fucked up this game.
That was gross.
Yeah, but anyways, I like the Seahawks, which is why I like Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals. Okay. He's attempted.
I'm a Myers fan.
Yeah. He's attempted 2 or more field goals in his last 8 games. The weather is beautiful, and he's made 10 of his last 11 kicks. All right. Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals. That's the first one.
People already love that one. We can see the chat going off. What's the next one?
I see you, EJ. I got to get on your basketball prop tonight. The second one, another familiar face here. Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals. The Chiefs play the Broncos, and Harrison Butker is 15 for 15 on the year. He hasn't missed. And against the Broncos, he has hit the over on this prop in 8 out of the last 9 times they've played. With with division games, we always love going back and looking at the history here. And again, he's hit it 8 out of his last 9 times against the Broncos. Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals. That's the second one.
8 out of 9. That's food.
Yeah. Love that.
And third, you can kick it like 80 yards in Denver because of the air. So that's even added on.
Yep, definitely. He loves it there. Prop number 3, going back to our boy who's been on arrest last week, our solid rookie kicker who will never shit the bed, Brandon Aubrey. Let's go.
The legend. The greatest Justin Tucker 2.0.
We ran into Bean's buddy at the bar on Saturday night, who's a listener of the podcast. And he was like, dude, this Aubrey guy, man, like this guy could kick. Like this, Brandon Aubrey is becoming a legend. All right.
He is.
So Brandon Aubrey over 1.5 field goals. He is 16 for 16 on the year. He's at home. We haven't lost with him yet this year. That's an easy one.
McCarthy never goes for it, and the Rams have that perfect defense to let them gain some yards and then stop them in the red zone. I love it.
Yeah. The Rams actually give up the 4th most points to kickers in fantasy. So they give up a lot of field goals too. Brandon Aubrey is the 3rd prop pick of the week.
All right. Well, you got to do better than last week.
Aubrey.
So instead of 2-0, you got to go 3-0 this week. Love to hear the people talking about Aubrey in the streets. That makes me extremely happy. If you don't have anything else, we appreciate you, and we will see you when you are 11-4 on the season.
Let's go. Love you guys. See you next week.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace.
All right, Nick. All right. The prop god, maybe the best gambler ever, but we have to keep doing what we're doing. And every week we are giving out winners. One of us is. And if you combine our records every week on the season, I don't think we've ever lost. So this is incredible. I am coming off a 3-0 week. Okay. And I have 3 plays this week. Okay. I have 3 plays this week. And you may, last week, nobody liked them, but everyone bet them because they're not stupid and they all won. So
if I'm going to start,
I'm going to start from the last game of the week. And this game is gross. This game is disgusting. But we're taking a team that sucks and we're going against a really good team. Okay. And I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders. They are getting 8 points on Monday night in Detroit. Right now, 97% of the money and 96% of the bets are on Detroit. Everyone will be teasing Detroit from 8 to 2.5 or 2. Everyone will be betting this game. They'll have lost money from the weekend and they will be chasing. And what's going to happen is the Raiders are going to keep it close. That's what they're going to do. They're probably going to lose, but they're going to keep it close. I can't deny it. The 8. Give me the Raiders +8. Let's keep it going. What do you got, Nick?
Okay. Yeah, I like that pick. I probably would. They're going to end up in a teaser. The other side, they're going to end up in a teaser. All right. So my first pick is Houston Texans. Horrible game to watch. We're going to fucking cross our fingers. Houston Texans, Carolina Panthers over 43.5. We've got Stroud, who's looked decent. I like that. We've got Stroud, who's looked decent. We've got
Bryce Young's coming on.
Yeah, Bryce Young's coming on. The Carolina Panthers, Adam Thielen, he's just witty in finding his little areas to get open. I think they've shifted up the offense a little bit, and we'll see how they roll it out this week. But yeah, give me Carolina Panthers, Houston Texans over 43.5. So I guess I expect it to be an average scoring league game at about 44.
Got it. I like it. So I'm going to paint you a picture. This team looked like the best team in the NFL last week. Lamar Jackson's unstoppable.
Okay.
The Ravens defense just shit down the Lions' throat. I mean, this team is on top of the world.
Yeah.
They're going to Arizona.
You're not swinging against that.
Arizona is awful, right, Nick? Are they good?
They are not fucking good at all.
They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. They're waiting for Kyler to get back. They're hurt all over the field. This is my lock of the week. I am taking the Arizona Cardinals +9.5. Okay?
Lock of the week.
10-point tease, 7-point tease for the Ravens. Everyone will be doing it. All the money, at least the majority of it, starting to come in on the Ravens. 9.5. We know Arizona plays better than you think they are. They always hang around. They always do. All right. And I'm telling you
that they've scored, I think it's like 4. They're averaging 4-point-some points in the second half. Something crazy.
Doesn't matter. They're going to cover. Okay. And also bonus play, not a pod pick, but bonus play. Yeah. Hollywood Brown, anytime touchdown scorer. Revenge game against the Ravens. My best bet of the week is the Arizona Cardinals +9.5. What do you got, Nick?
I have got another over-under. We was talking about that Rams-Dallas game. Stafford plays horribly this year under pressure. We'll see if that changes, if the sample size is too small or whatever. Their offensive line was banged up for a part of this year. Their defensive line is great. Dallas has struggled at times. They've been playing a lot of close games. I think this game will also be close. And I bet the under 45.5. I don't expect to see a lot of explosive plays. We've got the good combination of receivers with the Rams, but I think they're going to have him under so much pressure that he's not going to really be able to get the ball off. Maybe we see Puka with another 100-plus yard game. Maybe we see Kupp with 70-something yards. Maybe one of those guys scores, but I don't think it's enough to win the ball game. And I don't think it's enough to – the Rams – I don't believe the Rams win the game. I believe Dallas wins a close one, and I do believe that it goes under the total of 45.5.
Got it. Tone, he's saying he's trying to tell his home that Philly isn't going back to the Super Bowl. Thoughts? I think I don't know. This is a tough one. Well, it's funny because my when I gave out preseason bets for Super Bowl on the pod, I gave out Philly at plus 880, and I gave out the Ravens at 20-1. So that would tell you I think they are going. But the Niners are a juggernaut, and Sam Darnold's making his debut, I think, this week. So let's see what happens there. I wouldn't be so confident I wouldn't be so confident to tell your friend they're not going back to the Super Bowl. But my third bet this week, and it was just a thought that came in my head when we were talking about the game. Everyone will be teasing. Everyone's teasing the Eagles. Everyone will probably be on the Eagles. I don't know. That might be closer. But Washington's going to bounce back, okay? Washington looked like shit this last week. They always play the Eagles well. I'm taking the touchdown. Washington plus 7. We're going dogs again this week. I think we lost Nick. Hopefully we didn't. Hopefully he'll come back soon. Okay.
Yeah.
But Nick's back. All right.
I had the two fingers.
We are taking the dogs again. I've got Arizona plus 9.5, the Raiders plus 8, and Washington football team Commanders Redskins plus 7. Those are my 3 bets of the week.
All right. So my 3 bets, I've got Texans Carolina over 43.5. I've got Rams Dallas under 45.5, and the one I'm about to tell you about is a teaser with 2 of the hottest teams in the league. They've barely lost, and it's a little scary and a little sketchy that they've barely lost. When it's going to come to a head, I don't think it's this week. So tease me down. I've got Kansas City Chiefs from -7 all the way down to -1, and I've got Philly down from -7 all the way down to -1. I think they both.
The Chiefs have lost. They do. They have lost. The Chiefs.
They both lost.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Correct. So now you can make my Washington bet another best bet of the week, knowing that you have that teaser, because that is a too good to be true teaser. We know about that.
Right. It is a too good. It feels too good to be true. I might erase it from the docket.
I bet it already. You got to keep it, but that is a way too good to be true teaser. That is so good to be true.
So chalky. I'm keeping it though. Fuck it.
Keep it. All right, let's get to Fantasy Corner. I know you got questions for the Dean this week, and then we'll hit FanDuel, which I am 6-1 in FanDuel. It's an absolute embarrassment for you, but it's not shocking because I am running the fantasy world right now, and I'm on fire. So, and I even gave you put in DK Metcalf and Isaiah McKenzie last week, and I switched you out Lockett and Josh Downs, who had 20 points.
Yeah. I'm going to have to share the screen and then take it down real quick. Let's see real quick here. There you go, my boom.
We got breaking news. Jalen Ramsey's set to make his debut on Sunday. That's exciting. Just came through.
That is dope. That makes a difference. So that -9.5 actually may be a lock. So are we going to read the FanDuels now? What are we moving to now after we read our bets?
Let's hit questions for the Dean. If you have questions for the Dean, are the Jags a contender, EJ? You know what? That's a funny question. And I didn't put this as a pod pick, but it was going to be one. But I love the Jags this week. I think the Steelers are riding high. And I think people are down on the Jags a little because of the Trevor Lawrence injury. And I think that line is a weird one where you think it should be a pick 'em, but somehow the Jags are laying 2.5 or 3. I think the Jags are a contender, to be honest. Give me questions for the Dean, Nick.
Yeah, so I airdropped this photo to me, but I can't seem to find it. So I'm going to read it off to you. So I've got a trade proposition here. Remember, at the beginning of the year, I have a lot of Saquon Barkley. I have him on damn near every team. So in the Tattoo League, I got an offer for a trade. He says he's willing to give up 2 to 3 players for Saquon Barkley, and depending on which players they are. So I'm going to read you out some of the players that he has on his team. So starting, he has, well, he's not going to trade me 2 or 3 players with Derrick Henry, but yeah. So
yeah, don't read me the guys he's not going to trade. Yeah.
Okay. So he's got Dameon Pierce. He's got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Thielen, McLaurin, Goddard. Outside of Derrick Henry, I don't think I would say
so CeeDee Lamb. People are down on CeeDee Lamb right now. He hasn't had a good year so far. So if you could get like Lamb and a decent running back, I don't know if he has other running backs, but I would do something like that. Pierce, though, is not enough. Not enough.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the Dameon Pierce, but I don't think he's going to give me.
Who are your running backs? Do you have other running backs?
Yeah, so I've got Saquon. I've got Josh Jacobs. I've got Javonte Williams. That's about it for running back.
You have to get a solid back in return. So I'd probably lay off and hold on to Saquon there. But if I was trying to, I'd be trying to get. I mean, if he wants to give up Henry plus a receiver, that's not bad. Henry's a weird one right now because there are a lot of murmurs that he's going to be traded, and the Ravens are looking like the top suitor if he gets traded. So if Henry goes to the Ravens, he's going to be a monster. He'll be he already is a monster, and you know how he gets when it's cold out and you can't tackle him. If him and Lamar, like, you don't know if Lamar is going to hold it or he's going to run it, like, he'll be unstoppable. So, if you could try to get because
their offense is already looking like they might turn the hell up. The Ravens, that 20-1 Super Bowl bet is going to definitely get a lot shorter here in the next couple of weeks, I believe.
Yeah, it's probably already shorter. Let's see what Tone says. I hear you about the Eagles prediction. I'm not 100%, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't bet on it. Yeah, I feel you. It was a preseason bet, and that the Eagles bet I really took was just because I thought I was never going to be able to get a better number on it, which has proved to be right so far because they're like 6-1 or 590 plus 590 right now, and we got them at almost 9-1. But I feel you. It's tough to go back to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and if the Niners can get just decent quarterback play, I think they're probably the favorites for the NFC. But all right, is that all you got for questions of the Dean, you slacker?
I got another question. This one sounds funny. That's why I want to ask it. In one of these games, I have the over. In one of these games, I have the over, and in one of the games, I have the under. All right, Adam Thielen or CeeDee Lamb
for the week?
Yeah,
full PPR or half?
We usually do half, I think.
Half CeeDee Lamb. If it's full, I think you'd have to ride Thielen again. But I'll take CeeDee Lamb in half.
Yeah, so I thought that was just an interesting question because preseason, that's something someone would laugh at.
Everyone was Thielen's been incredible. So I wouldn't blame. If you've been playing Thielen, I'd try to play both those guys. Yeah, I'd try to play both those guys, to be honest. But yeah, Thielen's tough to sit if you've been riding him 100%. All right.
In most cases, you're going to have enough slots to play both Thielen and CeeDee Lamb.
Both of those guys. Yeah, for sure. But some teams, if they're really loaded, 10-team league, you might have that decision. And that's a tough one. I wouldn't blame you. Thielen, obviously, his floor right now is like incredible. Tone, you're 100% spot on here. Appreciate you liking the podcast, and thank you for the good luck. Yeah, it's tough to go back to the Super Bowl. It rarely happens unless you're talking Brady teams, but it is very tough. All right, let's wrap it up because the game has started. FanDuel, I'm 6-1. Nick, I almost want to throw it so that you win a game, but I'm not going to. I went with the cheapest starting quarterback you can get this week, and I've got Bryce Young at quarterback.
Okay,
I
like the over.
I think he actually has a good game. I really wanted to bet Carolina, but Houston's burned me every time I bet against them, so I couldn't. So I got Bryce Young at quarterback. I'm going to read the whole team. I've got Christian McCaffrey, the most expensive running back, Isaiah Pacheco, who's just been a monster, A.J. Brown going back to the well. I've got Josh Downs, who's been hot. I've got Tank Dell in that game. You like the over. This tight end was just so cheap. I know he hasn't been great, but I'll take Jake Ferguson for Dallas, Rashee Rice in the flex, and the Giants defense.
Okay, so there was a player that I had a comment on, but I don't remember now. But yeah, so I had Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Isaiah Pacheco at running back, Alexander Madison, Christian Watson, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, and Mark Andrews stacked with Lamar.
Ooh, triple stack. I like it.
And then I took Dalton Schultz, who's just been a target for that team, and the New Orleans Saints defense.
All right. I like it.
Who were your players again? Because there was someone that I had some comment on.
It was Bryce Young, McCaffrey, Pacheco, A.J. Brown, Downs, Tank Dell.
Right. So you're like, McCaffrey, the highest running back. He's the most expensive player in the game right now for FanDuel.
As he should be. And I think he just absolutely crushes San Fran. He looked solid last week, and he'll be perfectly 100% this week. So I like that. And we're looking to stay hot, boys. We appreciate everyone who hopped on the YouTube. We'll have this up as always on by tomorrow morning. And you got anything else, Nick? Or are we out?
No, that is it. We are out. Peace.
Peace. All right, beautiful. Let me